everyone is running on fumes. We're exhausted, whether that's because we've been supporting indigenous rights or Palestinian rights or anti-genocide or supporting the Samad flotilla, or whether it's domestic violence. It doesn't matter. We're exhausted. We're feeling really tired. We're looking and we're feeling drawn out. And people are now running on fumes. But I'm going to say it's only because you're strong. You're not exhausted because you're weak and you don't have the strength. You've got to this stage because you've managed to push through of 2 years of a horrendous genocide. And if you were awake before that, however long, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever it is, you've pushed through, you've managed to get through. And you haven't done that because you're not exhausted because you're weak. You're exhausted because you've been carrying a lot. And that's the difference between yourselves and the others. Other people either switch off or pick sides, and they pick the wrong side, which is the side of violence and oppression and power. You've picked the side of the weakness, the weak and the oppressed, and justice. And that's hard. And it's always been hard. And whether you look at all the prophets who oppose the tyranny, or the great people that we support, whether it's Martin Luther King or Gandhi or Malcolm X, these people opposed powerful systems, but they didn't do that because they were weak. They did it because they were strong. So you're in those footsteps. Whether you're a makeup artist and you're pushing through, or a mum and you're pushing through, or an office worker and you're pushing through, it's because you care enough to stand up and to show your care with an action, whether that's a march, whether that's a protest, whether that's blogging, whether that's vlogging, whether that's commenting on these, whether that's staying informed. It's because you care. You've stood up. It's easy to switch off, and I'm going to talk about my own community for a bit. The mosques have pretty much switched off. They don't mobilise, they don't activate, they don't inform. You go in there and you might get a sermon about good neighbourly conduct and parking etiquette, or should you walk into the mosque with your left foot or your right foot. These are the types of things that they're talking about. It's because they have switched off, because they've been defeated. They are weak. You get the other side who don't care at all. It's just not on their news radar. And why don't they care? Because by caring, they have to do something, and they won't do anything. So it's easier to blank it out. Because you care, you've stood up, you've been counted, and you're pushing through, and it's because you're strong. So this is a war of resilience. This is a war where we now need to take up the slack. And I'm sorry to all those people below the age of 40 that your parents failed to do, and their parents before them. You're going to have to save your country from generations of people being asleep and watching their countries being taken over, and now the inevitable, which is your countries are now directly responsible for supplying arms and weapons to a genocide. And you're fighting because you're strong. Love you, man.